a warm welcome to my vlog. Well, it's not warm, but a welcome all the same. I'm at the Approach Fisheries in West Yorkshire. Now, if you watch my last vlog, you've seen that I've had one out of this lake. This is the Trout Lake that I'm on. The last time I fished here, I fished on Willow Lake, which resulted in a thorough blank. So yeah, I've come back onto the Trout Lake. I've just been kind of like having a look round. I'm in swim 7, if you know the lake, so I'm on the first bank, maybe about halfway down the lake, and I've seen 3 or 4 fish, but they are long, very long, so it's going to be distance work if I'm going to get close to them. So without any further ado, I shall get the rod set up and get some baits on them, and let's see if we can pick one up this time. Well, it's absolutely freezing today, so I'm having my casserole a little bit earlier than normal because I can't seem to get warm. Anyway, what I'm showing you here is that mess tin. What happened was, I was in France in August and we stayed at my friend's lake, and the guy who owns the lake is a former military person, and he was talking to us about this brocante that was up the road, and it's like brocante is a like second-hand store in France, but this one was specialised in military stuff. So I've got a mega interest in the World Wars, so I had to go. So he took us down there, and it was mega. There was all sorts of like RAF uniforms, German uniforms, old helmets, decommissioned rifles, all sorts of stuff there. We was there hours and I absolutely loved it. But I had to buy one of these. This is a World War II mess tin, and stamped on the side of there is 1943, and it makes you think, doesn't it, if this could talk. Yeah, really interesting piece. So it is now my #1 cooking device for while I'm carp fishing. Yeah, kind of like thinking, you know, in the pandemic that we're in, and yeah, it's bad, people's lives have been affected massively. Obviously we've lost lives and people's livelihoods, etc, etc, but you know, it's not like it was during the war, so I suppose we have to think of it like that. But yeah, that is my new World War II cooking mess tin. Well, you wouldn't believe it looking at the lake now, but early hours of this morning there was a proper storm came through, and I was hanging onto the bivvy and it was driving rain. My waders got full, my bait buckets got full. Yeah, it was a bit hectic. And look at the lake now, it's like a mill pond, and the sun's just coming up. Well, what a perfect way to start the day. So this fish came to the long rods at 28 wraps, which is pretty much where I saw the fish when I got here, but I have seen good fish there. So you never know. I've got the rest of the day to fish, so I'm going to get the rod straight back on the spot, hopefully not disturb the water too much, hopefully one cast, and you never know, we might get one of the big fish. while I move those rods long, like I said earlier this afternoon, because I was seeing fish and one of them's gone. It's about 10 o'clock now, so there's plenty of night left. They did start linering about an hour ago, but this one certainly wasn't a liner. It was a massive drop back, and it come towards me about 50 yards before I made contact with it. But obviously not one of the big fish, but mega confidence boost for, you know, a lake that's not fishing particularly well at the moment, and we're well into November. So yeah, we'll get the rod back on the spot and let's see if we can get one of them big ones. So that's fish number 4 for the visit, and yeah, no big fish of course, but they all count in November. And like I say, the lake hasn't been fishing too well over the last week or so since I haven't been down, so really happy with it so far. And you never know, when you're getting bites you're always in with that chance. So once again we'll get the rod back out there, and let's just pray to the carp gods that one of them big uns makes a mistake. Well, you join me back down at the Trout Lake again. Not much to report so far on this visit. I've only actually got one rod out. I've just been walking up and down this bank and I've seen one fish, so naturally that's all I've seen, so I've gone on that one. So I put one rod on that area, and in my last couple of visits, kind of like the period of activity seems to be last light on an evening and first light in the morning. So it's like 3 o'clock now, so rather than do the rods and just, you know, get them done for the sake of doing them, I'm just going to sit it out for maybe another hour or so, and just hopefully they'll have a little bit of a show for me and give me an idea where they are and what they're doing. So like I say, I've just done one rod, and I'm kind of sat on my hands hoping that something happens in between now and dark. So if not, I'm just going to have to go on what I know, and I don't know a lot about this lake so far. I've only done like maybe 5 or 6 nights on it so far, so I don't know a lot about it, but I've got an idea where I would fish if I don't see anything. So hopefully we don't have to do that, and we see a bit of fish activity and I can get some baits on them. Well, the spot got another 10 spombs after that last fish, because they were active and they were obviously there, and I was getting bites. So it's an hour's passed after that point and they've moved back onto me, and I know I keep repeating myself, but I can't get past these smaller fish. This is fish number 5 or possibly fish number 6 now, can't quite remember, and I don't think one of them's been a 20 pounder, probably one that was getting on that way. The frustrating thing is I know there's big fish there. I've seen big fish showing there. This afternoon a big fish showed there, or certainly a lot bigger than this one. But I can't choose which one picks me up, can I? So I shouldn't complain. It's really good autumn fishing is this, so I'm still waiting for that elusive big fish bite, but we'll persevere. What's happened this morning? Absolutely nothing. Yesterday I was seeing fish over the spot, and I kind of knew one of them was going to go. Not this morning, so they're either quietened down or they've moved off. I'm not quite sure, but I don't think I'm going to get another bite now, or certainly not seeing anything that kind of makes me think I'm going to get a bite. So what I want to do is just take a little moment to talk about bait, and in particular bait in approach. For this time of year I scale things down. In the summer I'm going to fish 15mm boilies, and that's what I've been doing for a long time. Over the top of that I'll either fish a fluoro bait or match the hatch, usually S7. For those of you that watch my vlog series, you know I'm a massive fan of the S7, so it'll be a milky malt over the top or match the hatch over the top. That's kind of like my standard warm weather fishing approach. But as you can see, it is not warm weather. the fish do react differently to weather conditions, as it's quite obvious that they do. So what I want in my mix now are very small food items that are high attract. So the mix I fish for this time of year will consist of a lot of small food items. I'm not going to fish big 15mm baits or even 18mm baits or anything like that. I want everything scaled down, everything small, but like I say, high attract. So I'll go through what I've been doing on this trip. The bulk items of my mix is made up of maize and sweet corn. Sweet corn is a mega winter bait, but what I do is I pimp it a little bit. So what I do is I get split maize. Now, officially you don't have to boil split maize, but I do boil it and I get it nice and soft, and once it's boiled and it's sat in the boiling water, I'm going to use a hydro spod syrup. I'll show you which one I'm using at the moment. Everything at the moment is S7, so we're not fully into winter, so I'm sticking with the S7. Because I'm catching on it, I'm going to stick with it. As we move into proper frosty weather, I will probably change to the switch. The only reason I'm going to do that is the last 2 winters on the switch I've had really good years, so at the moment we're all S7. So on my maize and sweet corn I put some hydro spod syrup and I leave that on soak for 48 hours before I come fishing. So once that mix is all softened up, I've got my sweet corn and my split maize. I'm going to put the S7 stick mix on top. I'll show you this stuff. This is like a red coloured powder, like more use for, obviously, for creating little PVA bags, but I pour it liberally on the top and give it a good mix around. And what I'm trying to create is like a ground bait ball. So the next thing I do is get the hydro spod syrup. Again, this is in S7, but I don't just pour it on top. What I do is, the first time I fished here, when I finished fishing, I filled my water bottle up with lake water. So when I create this mix, I'm doing it all with lake water, by the way. So what I do is I get half a tub of S7 spod syrup and I mix it with lake water, give it a mega shake, and I pour that in to get my mix into that kind of paste, like a ground bait ball, like I say. Once I've got that, I actually squeeze it into a ball and just fit the ball. It's almost like what you'd use on a method mix, and just put that ball into the spod, and then on the back of the spod, just pour a little bit of the liquid on top. So the ball hits the water from the spod and it's dropped straight through. This makes it very heavy as well. And what I'm doing is, and this is something that I've been kind of thinking about for a long time. If you look at this lake, the majority of the anglers that fish this lake are using bait boats, and naturally what that creates is a tiny little baited patch. Now, in my years of stalking, I've seen fish spook off tight patches of bait. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I kind of think initially that becomes a really good tactic, but they do kind of think, hey, that looks a bit, and I've seen the pecks come out, you know, when I've been stalking them, and they've looked at bait and thought, you know. So what I've done here is, I'm fishing long into the lake. I'm fishing 28 wraps. So I've got 3 rods, and they're probably, I don't know, I'm guessing 10 yards apart, all 3 rods. This is the spot where I was seeing fish when I got here. So I've got 3 rods on that line. So I've created probably maybe half a tennis court area, and I've just dropped the Spomb in different areas all over that. So when I'm spodding, I start at 28 wraps, and then I'll do a spod, and then I'll take a few spool lines off, and then I'll do it again, then add a few on. So I'm scattering bait all across my area. So I've kind of got like 60 PVA bags out there. So when the fish move into my area, it isn't just clump, clump, clump. There's little patches of bait all over the area that I'm fishing. And it's something that I've been doing for quite a while now, and I'm convinced that's what's helped me catch the fish that I've caught on this trip. All right, I haven't caught any big ones, but equally I've had 6 bites, and I've only seen 1 or 2 fish out while I've been here, and I do think that approach works. So it's just like a carpet area of feed with single pop-ups. I've been fishing milky malts on this trip, just single pop-ups thrown into the area, and I think the fish kind of feed on it a little bit more confidently. Right, that's me packed up and done for the session. Yeah, happy with the result. Had 6 bites, landed 6 fish. Yeah, it would have been nice to get through to one of the big ones, but carp fishing doesn't always work like that, does it? So I'm going to get back, get all this lot dried out and get myself a breakfast. Well, we find ourselves in yet another lockdown, so my fishing on the Trout Lake has had to come to an end, unfortunately, which is a bit frustrating because I'd kind of put a lot of work in down there and I was kind of getting a bit of confidence and I had a plan how I was going to approach the rest of the winter, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Day fishing is allowed now, but it's out of my travel remit, and if I'm honest, day sessions isn't how I'd approach that style of lake anyway, so for the time being, I'm just up at my place now, just checking the electric fence and just making sure everything's okay. The lake's frozen here, so I'm not fishing today. So I'm going to sign off on this vlog. I hope you've enjoyed it, and all being well, I'll catch up with you in the spring.